Okay, hi guys, so I finished editing this video of me making these. The tutorial isn't very good, but I'm gonna upload it anyways. But I'll just talk you through, like, I guess the structure of this video. So I started off making the ribbing, which is this part, and then I decided I made it too long, so I wear it like with these parts folded up, and then I just gradually crocheted up and up and up, and then to the fingers, and then very last I did the stars. Well, I crocheted them and then I attached them onto the gloves, and yeah, super cute. Probably good for winter, but I live in Australia, so we're heading into summer, but it doesn't really matter, they're cute either way. So to start making the ribbing, which looks something like this for our hand warmers, I'm going to grab some of this like beigey colored yarn, and then I'm going to make a slip knot just like that. And I've also got my knitting needles here, so I'm going to slide that onto one of them. And now we are going to cast on 30 stitches. However, this does also depend on how thick your wrist is, I suppose. So you might need to do more or less depending on your wrist size. So to cast on, you're going to hold your yarn like this, and then you're going to flip it over so you've got a loop on your fingers, and then you're going to slide that onto your needle. And again, so like this, flip over and slide onto needle. Just like that, and I'm going to go ahead and do that until I have 30 loops on my needle. Here is my needle. I actually ended up casting on 33 stitches, just to make sure that it will be long enough to wrap around my wrist. So now we're going to start knitting. So here I'm going to grab my other knitting needle and insert it into the first loop here like this. And with the tail of my yarn, I'm going to wrap it around that needle like this, so that way. And then I am going to just push my right needle like that and take it off my left needle. And I'm going to do this 2 more times. Wrap it around the left side of my right needle so that the tail of it is in front like this. And now I'm going to insert my right needle into the next loop, but I'm going to insert it this way so that my right needle would be on top of my left needle. And then I'm going to wrap it around like this and push that needle through and take it off my left needle. And you're also going to do this 2 more times, so you'll end up with 6 stitches on your right needle in total, just like that. And this is the pattern for our ribbing. So the first 3 stitches, what you did was knitting 3 stitches, and then the second 3 we did was purling. So you're going to follow the pattern knit, purl until you reach the end of the row. So now, as you can see, I've got my tail of the yarn behind sort of my needle, and I'm going to knit 3 stitches again. So 2, 3, and now we're going to make sure that the tail of our yarn is in front of our right needle, and then we're going to insert our right needle in front of our left needle and purl 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and lucky last 3. And as you can see, I'm sort of just alternating the stitch type that I am doing, and this will be called a 3x3 knit rib. And now I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these off camera. So now, as you can see, I've just done my first row and everything is on my right needle now. And it's very important that you remember what you did for the last 3 stitches of the first row. So I knitted the last 3 stitches. So when we start in the second row, the first 3 stitches are going to be purled. And similarly, if you purled the last 3 stitches, the first 3 stitches of your second row has to be knitted. Alright, so to start purling, I'm going to insert my needle in front of my other one, wrap my yarn like this, and push it through. And obviously I'm going to do that 2 more times so that I've got 3 purled stitches. Like that, and now I'm going to put the tail of my yarn to the back of my needle and knit the next 3 stitches. Just like that, and forwards again because we're going to be purling. And I think you get the idea, and I am going to do the rest of mine off camera. I hope I've done enough explaining that you will know just to keep repeating this and alternating stitch types from knit to purl or from purl to knit every 3 stitches. And I'll catch you guys when she died. So here I am going to be showing you guys how to cast off. You are going to knit the first 2 stitches as usual. And with the 2 loops on your right needle, you're going to take the first loop and pull it over the second loop, just like this. And then you're going to knit 1 stitch again, and then pull the first loop over the second loop. Now you're going to repeat this until you reach the end of your piece and you have 1 loop left on your needle. And once you have finished casting off, it should look something like this. So I just cut my yarn and pulled the tail through the little loop there to create a knot, like that. And that is your ribbing completed. Okay, once you guys have made 2 pieces of the ribbing, we are going to just fold them together into a little circle, and we're going to attach this side so that this is like a loop that you can slide it on and off your wrist. So for this part, I'll be using my crochet hook. It is my old loom band hook, and here I'm just going to grab some of my yarn and then make a slip knot like so. And then at one end of my ribbing, I'm going to insert my crochet hook into what looks to be the first stitch on both sides, and I'm going to place my slip knot onto my hook and pull it through, then tucking the tails of my yarn here like this. I'm going to just chain 1, and then with my hook I'm going to insert it into the next stitch on both pieces and grab onto my yarn and pull up a loop and pull that loop through. And I'm going to do the same thing to the next stitch, and I'm going to do this all the way across my ribbing until I reach to the other end. There we go, and now I'm just going to chain 1. There we go. And now if you flip it inside out, you will see that this edge is nice and connected, and this will be sort of the bottommost part of our hand warmers. And of course you're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on your other ribbing for your other hand. Next, we are going to start crocheting the actual part of our hand warmers. So I'm just going to first flip my hand warmer inside out so that the seam that we just connected will be on the inside. So it will look something like this. And now I'm going to place my hook back into that loop, and I'm going to start crocheting along this top edge all the way around, and I'll be doing half double crochets. So for the first stitch, because we are sort of creating the row, I'm going to make sure that I've got 2 chains in total to make it up for the height of my half double crochets, and then from the next stitch onwards I am going to half double crochet around. So to do a half double crochet, you're just going to yarn over so that you've got 2 loops on your hook. You're going to insert your hook into the next stitch. You're going to grab onto your yarn and pull up a loop, so now you should have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops. And that is how you half double crochet. So I'm just going to be doing that all the way around into every single stitch. And when you get back around to where we started, I will show you guys how I move into the next row. So here, as you guys can see, I've half double crocheted into every single stitch, and I'm back to where I started. It's a little bit hard to see, but this is what it looks like. So now I'm just going to slip stitch into the first little gap here, so it's the gap next to our chain of 2. So you're going to insert your hook into that little space, and then you're going to grab onto your yarn and pull up a loop and pull 1 loop through. And to start a new row, you would just do a chain of 2 and half double crochet all the way around again. And yeah, you're going to repeat the half double crochets for a couple of rows until when you put on your little hand warmer, it sort of reaches like the end of your thumb. So once you've done 7 rows of half double crochet, we are going to do our little thumb hole. So this one will be for my left hand. Here I'm just going to make a chain from here, and that one's going to reattach back over here so that there's, you know, room for our thumb. And you just want to sort of try it on as you go with your chain, and you can stop chaining once this little chain here wraps nicely around your thumb. And now I'm going to put my hand back into it and just reattach this little chain back to here. Like this. So I've just pulled that loop from our chain through the stitch that I want to reattach it back onto. And now let's just take it off, put our hook back into the loop, and here I am just going to do 2 chains. We'll half double crochet along the edge again, and you'll just keep half double crocheting around your hand warmer until you reach back to the start of the chain, and you're going to half double crochet into the chain. So here I am in my last stitch of the row before my thumb chain, so I'm just going to yarn over and insert my hook into the first chain, grab up a loop, yarn over and pull through all three, just like that. And I'm going to do the same into each of the stitches on the chain. Just like that. And now I will half double crochet into the remainder of the row as usual, and you can see this is what our little thumb hole looks like now. Ta-da! Okay, so here is what my hand warmer looks like so far. It doesn't have any like finger holes, it's just straight across at the moment, and we are going to be making some finger holes. So as you can see, this is my 5th row after the thumb hole, and I'm going to be starting with my index finger, and I'm just going to make a chain. Like you can sort of see that the end of this lines up with this here, so I'm just going to make a chain, and it's going to attach to the back here. So I've just done 4, and then I'm gonna try it on again to see if 4 is enough or if 4 is too many. Nope, I think 4 is actually perfect for my index finger, so I'm going to go ahead and slide my hand off of it and then attach it to the back of my hand warmer. And I also need to sort of figure out where I'm going to attach it. Okay, and it's going to be just that stitch there. And let's take it off, and then I'm just going to insert my hook into that stitch there and place my chain onto my hook and pull it through. And now I'm going to do a chain of 2 as like a turning stitch to make up the height of my half double crochets, and then I'm going to half double crochet into the next couple of stitches. Like this, and then I'm going to slide my hand back into my hand warmer, and I'm just going to see how wide this little row has to be before I do a chain for my middle finger. I think I'm going to do one more half double crochet and then do a chain to attach to this side for my middle finger hole. So I'm going to start off by doing 4 chains, and then just gonna slide it onto my hand to see if I need more or less. I think 4 is perfect for that one, and now we need to figure out which stitch I'm going to attach it into, and looks like it will be that one there. So holding on to the stitch, now I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch that I'm going to attach the chain onto, and place the chain onto my hook and pull it through, and 2 chains, just like that. This is what it looks like from the top angle. Now you guessed it, we're going to do half double crochets into the next 3 stitches, and then I'm going to just put my hand back into it, and here I'm going to start my chain for my ring finger. So I'm going to only do 3 because it's like a slightly slimmer finger. I'm going to pop it on, try it out. So that looks like 3 is perfect. Now I'm going to attach it to the back of my hand warmer. So it's just going to be that stitch there. And then I placed the loop on my chain over and I slid that through. Then I'm going to do 2 chains, and here I'm just going to double crochet into every single stitch around the back there and also around the front. Just like that, I've half double crocheted into every single stitch around my pinky, and now I am going to be double crocheting into this chain here. So I'm going to insert my hook into just that first chain there and yarn over and pull through a loop and another one, and now I'm going to do 2 chains, and here I'm just going to half double crochet into the next stitch on the chain and the following stitch on the chain, and you're going to do this until you reach the end of your chain, just like that. And now I'm going to be half double crocheting these couple of stitches here, so I'm just going to yarn over, set my hook into that stitch and half double crochet, and again, just like that. And once I've half double crocheted into every single stitch here, I am going to start half double crocheting into this little chain here. So I'm going to insert my hook into the first chain, pull up a loop and pull it through 1 loop, and then I'm going to actually be doing single crochets for this part. So I'm going to insert my hook into that loop there, yarn over and pull up a loop and pull 1 loop through, so that's 1 single crochet, and I'm also going to do the same in the next one. Just like that. And then I'm going to yarn over and start half double crocheting into this couple of stitches. I've got 2 or 3 here. Nope, just 2. Alright, and then I'm going to start a single crochet across the chain again. So the first stitch, you always insert your hook into the chain and then pull up a loop and then pull 2 loops through and then follow up by a chain. And I'm just going to single crochet. There we go. Now I am going to single crochet these couple of stitches around. Alright, and this is how that looks at the moment. It's just you've got something in between your fingers now to sort of like keep them separated, I suppose. And you can leave it at that, or you can go ahead and add a few more stitches into each of the fingers. I'm going to add just a few more rows into each finger, onto each finger. So here I'm just going to half double crochet into the next stitch and then half double crochet along this little part that separates our fingers. And this is how that looks. So I'm going to do a couple more stitches and then tie it off here. So to do that, I'm first obviously going to just half double crochet a couple more stitches, And for the next stitch, I'm just going to do a single crochet. In the following stitch, I'm going to just do a slip stitch like that, and in the next one I'm going to slip stitch and then do 2 chains, grab my scissors and cut that off, then pull the tail through and just tighten that tail a little bit so that it forms a knot. And this is how that looks. This is how long that is. I didn't want them to be like super long because this part is actually, I did make it like quite long. And now let's do the next finger hole. So to do the next part, because I cut off my yarn, I'm obviously going to have to reattach it, and to do that I'm just going to make a slip knot, and then I am going to insert my hook into that stitch here, which is right next to my first finger. I'm going to pull that through and then do 2 chains. Now I'm going to half double crochet, oops, into the next few stitches. And here I've reached my middle like finger separating bit, the little chain. I'm just going to insert my hook into that and continue half double crochet. Like that, and now let's half double crochet into the other side. Just like that, and now I am going to half double crochet into the other side of this middle chain here. So I'm going to yarn over first, and then I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch there, pull up the loop and just half double crochet as usual, and same thing in the next stitch. And also the same in that stitch after. There we go, and I'm going to do a few more half double crochets until sort of the length for the first 2 fingers are about the same, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie it on. So this is how that looks for a moment, front and back. So here I'm just going to progress into a single crochet and then 2 slip stitches, and then I'm going to do 2 chains, cut that one off, pull that through and just tighten that knot. There we go, so that's 2 fingers completed. You're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other 2 fingers if you're hoping to do that. And I will be doing these 2 off camera. To make the little stars to go on top of our hand warmers, I'm going to be using some pink yarn. So to start off, I'm going to hold my yarn like this and wrap it around my finger so that the tail of it is underneath the end that's attached to the ball, and then I'm going to insert my hook underneath that and pull up a loop. Then I'm going to do a chain of 3, just like that, and then I am going to be double crocheting into the loop, and I'm going to be doing that 14 times so that we've got 15 of these posts coming from the loop. So here I've done 3 posts, and because the loop is sort of holding its shape, so I could just take it off of my finger because I find it's easier to work with that way. And I am going to be doing 12 more double crochets. So here are my 14 double crochets and also my chain of 3. And now I'm just going to pull on the tail of my yarn so that the circle in the center becomes smaller and it looks like this. And now I'm going to slip stitch into my chain of 3. So I'm just going to insert into my chain, and then I'm going to pull up a loop and pull that loop through. So now we've got our little circle, which will be the center of our little stars, and now I am going to do a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to insert my hook into the second last chain, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. That is our single crochet. I'm going to yarn over and then half double crochet into the next stitch on our chain, and then we're going to be double crocheting into the following chain just in here. And now we are going to triple crochet into our last chain, just like that. And I'm going to insert my hook into the third loop on my little circle. So that's 1, 2, 3, just this one here, just like that. And then I'm going to pull up a loop and pull that loop through. Now we're going to repeat the same thing, do 5 chains and single crochet into the second last chain, half double crochet into the following chain, double crochet into the next one, and triple crochet into the last remaining loop on our chain. And then again we are going to insert our hook into the third loop and pull up a loop and pull that loop through. So you're going to be repeating this until you have crocheted back to the starting point. So here I've got my completed hand warmer and my little star. You can just leave your hand warmer like this if you prefer, but I wanted to add the star to the back of it because I think it's quite cute. So to do that, I'm going to be using a sewing needle. I've got one where it's a bit thicker here, where like the hole's bigger here, so I can thread some yarn through. So for this one, I'm just going to place my star on the back of my hand warmer, and I'm sort of just going to see how I want it to sit. Like, what angle do I want it to sit, like this, or do I want one pointy and to be straight up? Okay, let's do it like this. So first, with my yarn, I'm going to be doing a knot. So I'll make this kind of long so I don't have to rethread my needle when I do my other hand. And I'm just going to cut my yarn there. Now you want to keep the ends, I'm going to line up the ends, just smooth that out. And here I'm just going to do a knot. Just like that. I sort of left a bit of a tail at the end, just so I could tie it to my hand warmer. You'll see in a bit. Okay, I'm going to insert my needle through the stitch that I want the first bit to be attached to. Just like that. I did it like this so that the knot can be on the inside of your hand warmer and you can't see it. You won't be able to see it. So, and now you're going to place your needle through the tip of your star. There we go. And I'm going to insert my needle to about halfway down this side and onto a stitch my hand warmer, and I went sideways again like that, and again, Now I'm just going to insert my needle in the corner of the 2 triangles of the star. And now we're going to move on to this side, so I'm just going to insert my needle in there and also there. And same again, but to the tip of the star this time, like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of this because there really isn't much explaining. It's pretty straightforward, and yeah, I'm just going to go all around the outside of my star until I get back to that point there, and this is how it looks so far. Okay, so now I've got 1 stitch left, and I'm just going to insert it into there, and then I'm actually just thinking of there, and I think I will just tie a few knots with the pink strings from the start so that essentially this whole thing is a loop. Just like that, and let's just do a few more. And I'm just going to cut off my yarn there. So now I'm going to be getting rid of these ends for this one. If I think it is tight enough, I will just cut it off and it shouldn't really come undone. Otherwise, I could do a few knots just on like a surrounding piece of yarn that's just hanging out. Okay, so it's just a little knot there, and that's probably good. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. And as for the other one, I will probably just do the same thing on, could do it on this. Just like that, and maybe another one in the next stitch, just because I feel like it would be better. There we go. And oopsies. And as for the tail there, I'm thinking that I will just tuck it underneath the star or inside the glove so that you won't be able to see it, but then it will still be there. Because I feel like if I cut it too short, it's already like one of the knots has actually come undone. I don't know if you saw it happening because I didn't realize until just then. But yeah, so I might just like tuck it under or something so that it won't come undone, because it's now too short to be tied into another knot. And I might just do a little fabric glue on this little tail there and then cut it so that it doesn't come undone. But yeah, this is my little hand warmer for my right hand. I folded the ribbing up because otherwise it's sort of long and it doesn't quite work with like puffer jackets if I'm wearing them. And it still looks very, very cute. And yeah, now I'm going to go ahead and finish off my other hand warmer, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!